Hey, I'm Nancy Cavey, National ERISA and Individual Disability Attorney. Welcome to Winning Isn't Easy. Before we get started, I've got to give you a legal disclaimer. This podcast is not legal advice. The Florida Bar Association says I have to say this, so I've said it, but nothing will ever prevent me from giving you an easy-to-understand overview of the disability insurance world, the games the disability carriers play, and what you need to know to get the disability benefits you deserve. So off we go. I'm going to be talking today about the wonderful world of medical records and attending physician statement forms. These documents are the key to getting your disability insurance benefits, which is why I'm spending a lot of time talking about these issues. I'm specifically today going to talk about having a supportive doctor and why that's the key to getting your benefits. The 9 tips for getting your doctor to fill out a winning attending physician statement form in your ERISA claim. And I'm going to tell a story. I'm going to tell you the story about how Reliance Standard seized on a misstatement of a treating physician about a policyholder's ability to work and what one court did about it. Let's take a break before we get started.
Are you a professional with questions about your individual disability policy? You need the Disability Insurance Claim Survival Guide for Professionals. This book gives you a comprehensive understanding of your disability policy, with tips and to-dos regarding your disability application that will assist you in submitting a winning disability application. This is one you won't want to miss. For the next 24 hours, we are giving away free copies of the Disability Insurance Claim Survival Guide for Professionals. Order yours today at disabilityclaimsforprofessionals.com.
Welcome back to Winning Isn't Easy. Are you ready for story time? I read the case law that comes out every week, and I'm reading cases across the United States by different judges involving different medical conditions and different carriers and different issues. Sometimes I will read horror stories. Sometimes I read stories that make me want to cry. And sometimes I read stories that make me want to cheer. Let's talk about how Reliance Standard seized on a misstatement of a treating physician about a policyholder's ability to work and what just one court did. So just because your disability carrier is paying you benefits you deserve, don't think they're happily going to pay your benefits through the life of your claim. Disability carriers are always looking for a reason to deny a claim, and Reliance Standard is no exception. What I find is that the attending physician statement form can be a gotcha game, and the carriers play this game in your claim with every APS form. So even if you're on claim, generally the disability carrier is going to ask your doctor to complete the form, and that form can be completed monthly, maybe every 3 months, every 6 months, but it doesn't matter the frequency. Why? Because the forms are written in a way to mislead physicians about the disabling medical conditions that form the basis of the claim and to opine that you can work. So let me tell you the story of Dr. Patrick, a gastroenterologist. He had a significant right shoulder injury, and she underwent surgery that was only partially successful. She filed a disability claim with her carrier, Reliance Standard, who approved her claim in April of 2009. Over the years, she developed left shoulder bursitis because of overuse in the right shoulder, and she continued to have significant debilitating right shoulder problems. Dr. Jobin, the treating orthopedist, continued to assert that she was disabled from performing the duties of a gastroenterologist because of the right shoulder problems. But in December of 18, he opined on an APS form that she could return to work without restrictions and limitations. Now, this is an example of what can happen. Doctors get busy, doctors aren't paying attention. Sometimes it isn't even the doctor who fills out the form. But nonetheless, without seeking any clarification, Reliance said, I gotcha. And they terminated Dr. Patrick's benefits. Was anybody surprised? No. Dr. Jobin amended the report and submitted a sworn declaration under oath, clarifying that while Dr. Patrick had no left shoulder restrictions limitations, she continued to have the right shoulder restrictions limitations that prevented her from performing her occupational duties. So what did Reliance do? They stuck their finger up in the air and said, too bad, so sad. We're not going to change our position. Ultimately, of course, they ignored the amended report and the sworn declaration. Dr. Patrick sued Reliance Standard as she should, and the federal judge was not impressed, to say the least. Now, sometimes the judges are, but in this case, the judge was not impressed. The court said, look, Reliance, your failure to consider the amended report and sworn statement was arbitrary and capricious. In addition, Reliance didn't have any medical notes or opinions that contradicted or even called into question Dr. Jobin's conclusion that Patrick remained unable to practice as a full-time gastroenterologist. They didn't even have their liar for hire doctors address it. They just seized on the error that Dr. Jobin made, and Jobin was clearly commenting on the left shoulder, not the right shoulder. And Reliance Standard ran with it and tried to run away with robbery, running away from the scene of the crime. And the judge said, oh, no, and ultimately directed the carrier to pay her the benefits. Now, that was a great result, but she had to end up in federal court and hire a lawyer and sue Reliance to get there. So you can see that it is really important that the APS forms be completed accurately and hopefully reviewed by an attorney before they are submitted. I hope you've enjoyed this week's episode and learned some lessons about attending physician statement forms. If you like this podcast, consider liking our page, leaving a review, or sharing it with your friends and family. Remember, this podcast comes out weekly, so stay tuned for next week's insightful episode of Winning Isn't Easy.